What's good, boys? It's currently 9 o'clock, and I want to share with you guys a little story that I needed to hear when I was probably about 16, 17 years old. Must have been in high school. And I always, especially in high school, used to hang around people, around 3 or 4 close friends. And the remaining of the people I used to kind of socialize with. But among the 3 close friends I had, one of them was let's call him Hank, because the name was started with an H. And Hank always had something to work for. We used to play Minecraft Skywars. It was like a video game back then. It's probably still popular. And every time we used to ask Hank, Friday night, Saturday night, like, yo, you wanna hop on? You wanna hop on? He used to be like, yeah, but I gotta finish this first. I gotta finish coding this. I gotta finish doing that. And in high school, especially when you don't have a goal or you don't have anything to live for, I used to get jealous of him. I'm like, dude, how is this guy, literally me, doesn't seem any smarter than me, works so hard and is so ambitious towards something, while all I look forward to is a video game. And that is something that made me feel very stupid and kind of helpless in college. Because although high school, although high school teachers teach us a lot, one thing high school never teaches you is yourself. You don't learn about your character, maybe through experiences, but you know. And I used to have this idea, this limiting belief for many, many years that people were built different. I was like, dude, this guy's like me, but he's so much more hardworking, whereas I'm not. He can put himself and suffer, he can study for 4 or 5 hours without end. I used to even ask him, I was like, dude, what's the longest time you studied? I used to try to play it off cool, but in my head, I was like, dude, this guy's so much more ahead than me. And I used to be jealous at the fact that these people willingly put themselves through hardship and were getting good grades while working for other stuff, while my grades were worse and I wasn't working towards something. The happiness that I felt throughout the week was mostly about the fact that I could go home and play this video game. I could go home and pop on this video call with friends. And the truth is, if you're having people like that in your life and you're like, dude, how is this guy doing it? Like, I want to do that too and I'm trying, but I just can't put myself through that. I just don't know how to do that. This guy's doing 100 push-ups the moment he wakes up and I just don't have the motivation. It's because you don't have the urgency. Now, that's not a big wow moment, right? Because you understand that. But if you're questioning why you cannot put yourself through something, why you cannot do what this guy's doing, it's because you don't have the same reason to do it as that guy. You might understand that guy, he wants to, for example, get rich on YouTube, grow a YouTube channel. But you might not feel the same urgency or the same motivation and be willing to put yourself through that because it's not a big enough reason for you. Let that sink in, because I used to have this. I was like, dude, how is this guy working so much? And I literally can't sit down. I was like, dude, you know what? Let me try learning drop shipping. 20 minutes later, gave up, didn't touch my laptop for a whole week, and never researched again. And that made me feel so inferior. I genuinely thought these people are built different. And the truth is, if you want to put yourself through the suffering, through what you know is hard, and you can't, it's because you most likely lack in motivation problem. Not motivation in the sense of, oh, dude, I'm so motivated. Motivation in the sense of having a motive to do something. You need a bigger reason the longer the path is that you're trying to pursue. Now, if you do not care enough about the goal that you want to achieve, and you know that, and you know this guy Hank, he's working so hard, but for you it's like, yeah, I want to achieve it, but it's not an urgency. It's because everybody has different motives, and the same things aren't gonna work for you. You can ask Hank, like I used to ask him, I was like, dude, what's your motivation? Like, what gave you motivation? But I used to end up in the same spot with no desires, being directionless in a way, because no matter how much Hank explained to me how much you wanted to do it and why you wanted to do it, it didn't click the same with me because we're different individuals. And you have to understand that. The man, I'm going to misquote it, but if you have a why, then you will figure out the how and put yourself through it. I have friends and people asking me how, I willingly commit to my routine. I willingly take a cold shower. I haven't missed a cold shower in probably, I don't even know how long, probably 4 to 6 months. Maybe every now and then, for example, last week I went on vacation. The cold, the water, you don't hit the same. But that's not the point. People ask how. And I tell them, I am not the one who's pushing myself. Because once you have the reason, and your reason is convincing enough, the rest will follow. I promise you that when in the mornings I remind myself of my purpose and I stay aligned with my purpose through constant journaling, the rest comes way easier. If on days, or especially if that's what used to happen back in the day, when I didn't fully know why I should take a cold shower, taking a cold shower was way harder. I used to contemplate, should I hop in, should I not? But once I truly understand, dude, I have to become the person I want to, whether it was for achieving a business goal, whether it was developing myself into the person, I knew that there was no way around it. And I understood I have to completely, I don't want to say lock in, because it's like, this word is overused now, right? But once you get your why, the rest will become way easier. And now your question might be, how do I realize my purpose? Because that is one thing I cannot teach you. I can teach you how to realize your purpose, but I cannot teach you your purpose. Everybody has their own individual goal. Everybody has their own individual path and different circumstances. You might be completely rich, have a family, and be lacking purpose. Now, that person is going to be completely different from somebody who lacks in financial needs. That's going to be somebody else who lacks in health. What's his purpose going to be? Well, maybe he has money, but maybe he has cancer. So the way you realize your purpose is through internalization. And that's just a fancy word for getting to know yourself better. And there's literally only 2 processes to do. There are only 2 processes can help you with that. Of course, there's this you'll find this typical meditation monk music that will help you elevate on YouTube, but 2 things are necessary. 1, you need mental clarity, and 2, you need active alignment. When you don't have your purpose, actually, instead of active alignment, what you should have is alignment in general. Active alignment, I will explain it in a second, comes once you've already established a sense of purpose. And a purpose is the only thing that's going to keep you wanting to get up and attack the situation more. You will always have moments where you fall off, whether it's in discipline, frequency, or emotions. Now, your purpose, as long as it's strong enough, will keep you always wanting to attack back. That's going to give you the relentlessness. And so let's start with the process 1. Mental clarification. That is the most simple one, but it takes the most effort. Because that's the very first step, and usually more often than not, taking the very first step is the hardest step. So mental clarification, what that means is, in order to understand yourself better and let your thoughts literally oscillate around you, you need to have mental space. If you're always occupied and busy, and you're fallen into the illusion of, oh, I need to be busy because being busy means productive, that is completely wrong. What you need to do is almost be boring, have a boring mind. And the person watching this behind the camera might not understand, but it's like, once you achieve absolute silence and are able to control your thoughts better, that's when your perception opens up. You almost get a new perspective. That's when you start visualizing and hearing things you haven't heard before. Oh, dude, I didn't even notice that my clock was ticking that loud. And it sounds like a superpower. For some of y'all, it might be like, dude, come on, stop exaggerating. But if you aren't willing to accept and at least give it a chance and take the leap of faith, you will never, ever get anywhere. Because I had the same thing. All of you, just because they don't understand something, they think it's so invalid. They don't understand why it's important to have an early morning routine and set their habits absolutely in alignment. And just because they don't understand, they're like, oh, dude, come on, he's doing too much or whatever. So clear your mind. You should go on a dopamine detox. Your mind will only start cleaning completely, probably about 24 to 48 hours after you've completely stopped social media consumption. And the second step will be to write down your thoughts. You might wonder, should I write it on my keyboard? Should I, there's so many more fun ways to do that. Put on some TED video, some educational video and write it down. That's cooler. No, you need mental clarity. You need an empty mind, and you need to write your thoughts for at least 15 minutes a day. Maybe even longer if you haven't figured yourself out at all. Active alignment is when you constantly journal, preferably daily, to keep your mind active with the goal. Because what will happen more often than not, which I've experienced so many times, which made me fall off and costed me months of progress, is thinking, oh, dude, if I journal once every now and then about my problems, it will be fine. Your mind needs active alignment because you need to remind your mind every single day, what your goal is, why you want to pursue that, and who you really are. Many people don't realize that your mind needs constant maintenance, just like your fuel source and sleep. So what I would advise you to do, because what I've done that helped me understand my purpose, is first of all, write down my situation, how I feel and what it is that I'm going through. Don't put too much value in emotions, but rather try understanding your emotions, okay? And give them reason and cause. Second, once you've established what you're going through in your circumstances, I would write down why. And you might not know why it is, so write further. Okay, I feel depressed and I feel directionless. Write a little bit more. You don't know your direction. Well, I don't have anything to do throughout the day. Okay, that's a good start. And I cannot get myself to do hard things because I don't have a reason that's strong enough. Okay, maybe you've entered the zone. And then you're supposed to tell yourself, what is my purpose? Everybody has a purpose. Even if you're rich, can't have a healthy family, and God has blessed you with everything else that you need. Purpose does not come from desperation. It can, but oftentimes what you have in this desperate moments is not purpose, but rather urgency. So write down everything you know about yourself. And I promise you, if you haven't done that before, it should take at least 20-30 minutes. Write down why, write down how, and also what. If you follow the W's, why, where, what, and then how, you will get way further ahead in life than somebody who's taken some monk course on Udemy, who teaches you how to master yourself by breathing through one nose and some dumb shit, And once you understand your why, the rest will be much easier. The person you don't even know you're capable of right now, the person who you might not even think is achievable in your current vessel, will come to reality, because that's what I've experienced. I went from this kid who wasn't able to wake up before 9-10 a.m. on weekends to literally craving the 4 a.m. wake up because otherwise I sense how off-putting my frequency is. I'm not special. You aren't either. And so when dumb people have done that, when stupid people or people with no special God-given abilities have done that, why not you? You know exactly what the right thing is that you have to do. You know exactly not to open that dirty website. You know exactly not to eat that extra chips. You know exactly not to sleep in and snooze your alarm, like we all do sometimes. And the thing is, chances are, you haven't listened to the actual things that you know you're supposed to do, and then you're complaining. That's what I used to tell myself. I'm like, dude, I know what to do and I don't follow it, and I'm complaining on top of that. Like, it's like, if don't complain for the results you didn't get for the work because of the work you didn't do. There was a quote, something like that. I think it was by Homozy. If you're in a position where you feel hopeless, you don't think you will ever experience the fun and joy of waking up early, or you know, that just seems like a burden. You know you want more, but it just seems like such a big burden. Find your why. Because once you work towards something with purpose and you are putting yourself through hard work, that's the only time where you can actually enjoy it. Stay purposeful, stay aligned with your purpose, and do what you know you're supposed to.